Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if smart Naruto got harem with Samui, Shion, Hinata and Shizuka part 1, and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and also check the description. So let's begin the story. It was late in the evening, the stars were out, the moon was full, and this was a good night for people to get together. But for a young 5-year-old boy, this was one of the nights that he wished he would be hiding from such a night. The boy who was wishing to hide tonight was Naruto, the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yoko. He is, currently, wearing shorts, a white t-shirt with an orange Uzumaki symbol on the front, and shinobi sandals. Unfortunately, unlike many other children, Naruto was malnourished since he barely had anything to eat, except from what he found in the garbage or when the only nice people to him were the ramen chief and his daughter at Ichiraku Ramen. He was running for his life since right behind him was a group of angry villagers, some of which were shinobis. As he was running, Naruto could hear the people screaming at him, "We'll get you, demon, and you'll pay for what you did." He ran towards the village gates, where he hoped that the shinobi guards were there to help him out since they were one of the few people that actually didn't give him the evil glare. Unfortunately, they weren't there. No one was at the gate post for the moment, so Naruto kept running out of the village, where the mob still chased after him, through the forest. While waving and weaving past trees and bushes, Naruto was trying to shake the angry, bloodthirsty mob behind him. As he ran, he suddenly tripped, where he fell from a hill, covered in thick trees and bushes. He collided with the trees and bushes, giving him a few bruises and cuts from the fall. Naruto fell near an edge where it was near a fast-moving river where rapids were located. Normally the river moved so calmly that it looked like a clear, calm lake, but it moved fast when a thunderstorm was fast approaching. When Naruto looked up to see the dark clouds starting to form and high winds were increasing, Naruto tried to get up, but he found that his foot aches too much. He figured that he must have twisted it. Even though his foot was giving him so much pain, Naruto forced himself up on his feet to continue to run. As he walked, he hoped that the third Hokage would arrive soon, since he is the only other person that Naruto trusts since the third always tried to look out for him. Unfortunately, the third Hokage was away from the village at the moment. He was currently in Suna, talking over the current peace treaty that Konoha and Suna have. Naruto traveled for a bit, hoping he got away from the mob, but that wasn't the case. Naruto turned around to see several people in the mob. Once they spotted Naruto, they quickly called everyone else. Naruto tried to get away, but was caught by one of the people. Once he was caught, he tried to get away, but the mob had him completely pinned to a tree, which they all began to beat him badly. For almost 15 minutes, Naruto was beaten and cut very badly, near to the point of death. As he laid on the ground, with bruises and blood coming out from him, the leader of the mob grabbed what was left of his now torn shirt and held him above the rapidly moving river. "For the Yondaime Hokage!" The leader of the mob yelled out, which the rest of the people also shouted out. He tossed Naruto into the river, which Naruto fell into the fast-moving water that quickly rushed him down whatever place it led. The villagers watched with amusement and joy, knowing that they avenged the people that they lost from the Kyuubi as well as avenging the fourth Hokage just as the thunderstorm started to rain. They then left in a hurry, since they didn't want to be caught by the third Hokage's more loyal guards from what they just did. As they walked back home, with joy and happiness in their hearts, they have no idea what turn of events they just unleashed into the world. Fire Country border. At the west of the Fire Country, near its border, a group of Kumo were quickly on their way back home from a mission. It was early evening and they were right now trying to find a good place to camp for the night so they can get a fresh start tomorrow morning and be back home by noon. As they continued to look for a good spot, the leader of the 4-man team was Darui, a young newly appointed jonin. He had white fuzzy spike hair around his head, while having some of it cover up his left eye. He had dark skin, wearing his own jounin-style uniform. They continued to move forward until one of Darui's teammates pointed out a waterfall. The waterfall was tall, about 3 stories high. The teammate pointed to a cave, which looked big enough for everyone to share, which was a good thing since they can see a powerful thunderstorm coming their way. Once they checked the cave out, they all went in to get themselves ready for some sleep. Darui was the last one to go in, but just before he went in, he looked at the waterfall to make sure that any water wouldn't come inside the cave. It was then that he noticed something. Right before him, a body of a young child came falling down the waterfall, falling towards the rocky bottom that would surely kill him. Darui quickly ran and jumped at the young child. Darui caught the boy at the last second, before the young child hit the rapids. Once he caught him, he checked him out only to see blood on his hands. He checked closely to see that it was a young boy with spiky blonde hair. The boy was covered in bruises, cuts, blood, and his body almost frozen, but Darui could feel a small heartbeat and a faint pulse. He quickly went back to his team. Inside, his team had already gotten a nice warm fire, when they saw Darui coming inside very quickly. He got his good friend C to help. C was a young chunin, a mid-teen. C looked to see that Darui was holding on to a very injured boy. Darui explained that he just caught the boy from hitting the rapids. Darui ordered him to try and save him, which C agreed since he was a training medic, so the boy's life was in his hands. Darui watched, along with his other two teammates, as C did everything on helping the blonde-haired boy. C took off the boy's clothing, and laid him down, near the fire to help warm him up. He then used medical jutsu to cure him of his injuries. After about a half hour of waiting, C finished all the basic things he could do for the young boy, which he turned to Darui. "Well, is he going to be alright?" asked Darui. "I did everything I could to help him. The only problem now is that he has developed hyperthermia. Most likely from staying inside the freezing water as well as the injuries. The only thing we can do now is keep his body warm and hope for the best. The rest is up to him," answered C. Darui just looked at the boy and could feel that he is someone special just by looking at him, as well as seeing how he was still alive from coming down the waterfall with all the bruises and injuries he had. His thoughts were broken when C continued to talk. "Darui, there is something you should see." Darui saw C put some chakra on the boy's stomach. They were both seeing a seal appear in front of them, which they were amazed at what Darui had saved. They guessed that this boy is actually a Jinchuriki, but didn't know which one. Darui decided to bring him back to Kumo since he believed that the Raikage would know what to do next. Morning. It was sunrise, when Darui and his team started to wake up. It was a rough night for Darui since he had to think about what he was going to say to the Raikage on how he and his team had somehow found a possible Jinchuriki. But of course, before he even thought about that, he had to see if the boy even lived since he was in a dead-like state from last night. C also woke up after having some rest, and to check to see if the boy lived. Everyone in Darui's team woke up, which Darui and C went to check on the boy that was lying near them. C checked to see if the boy had survived the night or not. C checked and smiled to see that he lived. He then told Darui that the boy would live and that he is healing pretty nicely and quickly. Darui was glad about that, but he heard C that it would still be another day before the boy could be well enough to wake up. Darui acknowledged this, which he then said that they would take the boy back to Kumo, and see what the Raikage would do with him. Once they packed up, C took the blonde boy and placed him on his shoulders, which they then all left to Kumo at full speed. Konoha. It was morning when the third and his loyal Umbu squad came back to Konoha from his meeting with the Kazekage and Suna. As he walked towards the Hokage tower, he decided to visit Naruto since he wanted to make sure that he was still safe since he wasn't here for the week. He made his way towards Naruto's apartment, which on the way he told his Umbu squad to go and get some rest and send another squad with him. They acknowledged it, which they shunshin away to the Umbu headquarters. The third made it to Naruto's apartment building, where he walked up the stairs. Once he made it, he spotted the graffiti door on Naruto's apartment, which he could only sigh in sadness on seeing an innocent boy live like this. As he looked on, he couldn't help but remember what his predecessor, the Yondaime Hokage, thought of what they were doing to Naruto. As Naruto was the fourth only living son, he knocked on the door to see if Naruto was awake. He waited a few moments to only not get a response, which he then knocked again. He was getting worried since he had waited for more than 5 minutes. He decided to go in to check if Naruto was alright. Inside, the third looked around to see that Naruto wasn't inside his apartment, which he then checked to see that Naruto's bed was unmade and looked unused since last time. He was really starting to get worried, which he then sensed the new Umbu team coming towards him. He quickly went outside to meet his Umbu squad that had just arrived. "Umbu, quickly, I want you to go and check every square inch of Konoha. Find Naruto Uzumaki now. Once you locate him, come back to my office with him," Understand? Ordered the third. Anbu nodded and went to find Naruto. The third quickly went to the Hokage tower to wait and hear about Naruto being found. As he walked towards the Hokage tower, he couldn't help but blame himself for not taking Naruto with him, since he was a lot more safer with him than being in Konoha alone. Plus, he could have made friends with one of the Kazekage's children that seemed to be around the same age as Naruto. Later, it was noon, when the third finally got a report from the Anbu squad that he sent out to find Naruto. Unfortunately, when they arrived, the third didn't see Naruto's with either one of them. He then asked them to investigate what happened to him earlier that morning. Now, he was just waiting on what the investigation had found. He was about to go get lunch, when his Anbu came back to give the report on the investigation. He was informed that a mob formed against Naruto, just nearly yesterday afternoon, then explained that the people from the mob came back to the village through the main gate, which indicated that Naruto was chased outside the village, but they couldn't find him from the possible trail that they located, only that they found dried blood near a river that they guessed before the storm hit yesterday, that Naruto was thrown into the river, when it was rushing and moving too rapidly for a young boy to stay alive, plus the river was moving too fast that following him would be a waste of time. Judging from what the Anbu found, they said that the possibility that Naruto was dead was likely, since just past the border where the river leads to, a waterfall with jagged rocks in the bottom, Naruto would have fallen into it, possibly killed once on impact. The third had his face down, with sadness, which he then rose with fury unseen in many years. I'm ordering an emergency council meeting of both shinobi and civilian council members. I want a full explanation on all this from them. Get them here. Now, ordered the third. The Anbu acknowledged, which they all left to immediately inform the council members of the meeting. As they left, the third looked at the Yandame's picture on top of the shelves, along with the Shodame and Nidame Hokages. Minato. I'm sorry. I have failed you and your son, thought the third as he gotten ready to face the council. Right now, there was a lot of buzz moving in the council chamber room. All the clan heads, along with the civilian representatives, were getting into their seats, while the shinobi elders, Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo, took their seats next to the Hokage. It was only after the council calmed down when the third came into the room. As he entered, everyone could see and feel the killing intent that he was letting off. Once he took his seat, the council members stayed silent for a bit. After a few moments, Hamura broke the silence and asked the third on why he called this meeting, since he wanted answers on why the third had called for an emergency meeting. Hamura. I'm more interested in why you, Koharu, and Danzo have yet to realize what has happened, said the third. Hamura, Koharu and Danzo were confused, since they were wondering what had happened. It was then, the third explained what he meant. Early this morning, I went to check on a specific person, only to find out that he has been missing since yesterday afternoon, stated the third. The elder and clan heads were wondering what he meant, but a few of the civilian council members knew, since they started to act nervously, which the third saw and now knew who was responsible, or at least knows who were involved. Who do you mean, Sarutobi? Asked Koharu. I'm talking about Naruto Uzumaki. That's who I'm talking about. This got the heads and the elders a stunned look, which the third explained. I have just gotten a report from my Anbu after I checked on him early this morning. It appears that Naruto has been missing since yesterday afternoon, before a violent storm hit. The clan heads and elders were upset now. The clan heads know that Naruto isn't the Kyuubi, so they honor the wish of the fourth Hokage, but still didn't do much of anything nice, except the Hyuga or Yukiya, who rejected the boy and avoided him. The elders knew that with Naruto gone, Konoha had lost the Kyuubi no Yoko, which was an important military weapon for them. This was especially the case for Danzo, since he was hoping to turn the boy into his own personal weapon that would only listen to him, which he tried to get the third to hand him over to him for the past couple of years. It was then that Danzo spoke up. Impossible. For the week that you were gone, I had sent, much to my own request, a few extra shinobi to keep an eye on the boy. I find it impossible for him to be missing. The third looked at Danzo, who, even though they sometimes don't agree on things, they do know how important Naruto is. For the third, it was keeping the fourth Hokage legacy and heir of the Namikaze/Uzumaki clan safe, while Danzo saw Naruto as nothing more than his weapon. It appears that somehow, The mob that Mayambu had told me about was able to strike on him, which they then threw him towards his death at the river that was closely located to our village," answered the third. "It was then, some clan head of the Inizuka spoke up, then we need to search for the boy immediately. He may have survived the water and could still be alive, but barely." "Yes, I know. Unfortunately, since yesterday's storm, the river was moving too rapidly for any young child to actually survive. And even if he did manage to stay afloat on the river, you must remember that there is a waterfall, which would certainly end anyone's life, especially when he was beaten towards an inch of his life," answered the third. Most of the clan heads, except the Uchiha, Aburame, and Hyuga, just lowered their heads since the Yondaime Hokage's legacy was now lost. The other three clans' heads didn't show any emotion, but had their own thoughts about it. The civilians were secretly happy since they didn't have to worry about the demon infecting their home and village anymore. Their thoughts were broken when the third spoke up. "Sim, even though we know that Naruto not being alive is hard, I would at least like you or any of your clan men to bring back his body if it can be found." Sim nodded in agreement to the third request. With that, he ended the meeting, but assured that for those who were involved in Naruto's death would be punished in the highest degree. Once the clan heads, elders, and civilians left, the third just sighed in sadness because of what happened. I should have at least told Naruto about his parents. At least then, he would have died knowing the truth and be at peace knowing that they really loved him," thought the third, since now, he has to plan a funeral for Naruto, and place his corpse or find something of him to secretly place him next to his parents, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, in Kumo. Once they passed the gates to enter the village, Darui and his team made it back home. As they walked, Darui ordered C to take the boy to the hospital and stay with him, while he told his other teammates to go home and rest since he wanted to report the mission to the fourth Raikage himself. The reason why he wants to discuss the mission himself was because he wanted to make sure that the boy they found was legit, and if so, the Raikage would have to think of something about it. Darui's team went to do as he said, which he then made his way to the Raikage's office. Darui walked towards the Raikage's office, which didn't take long. He made his way towards the Raikage's office, where he saw the Raikage's secretary. The secretary was a young female, who looked to be in her early to mid-20s. She had white hair and dark skin, while dressed in a kunoichi dress that kinda looks like a bit of a business suit, where the skirt stops just above her knees. "Hey Mabui. Team Darui has returned from our B-rank mission and is ready to report. Also, I would like to inform the Raikage about a recent development that my team received while coming back home," said Darui. "Very well, Darui-san. I will inform the Raikage about your return and about your mission report as well as the development," answered Mabui. As Mabui went inside the Raikage's office, Darui waited outside his office. "Man, this is such a drab. I finally was able to perfect my speech for the Raikage to hear my report. But now I have to explain to the Raikage about the possibility of us finding another Jinchuriki like Yujito and Bisama. I don't know what he would think. What a drab," thought Darui. Mabui came back after a few minutes, where she told Darui to come in. The Raikage's office was a Spanish oval office, where on the opposite side of the double-door entrance, there were large windows that showed all of Kumo. Between the windows and center of the office, the Raikage sits in a somewhat desk, where on one side had the regular desk version, while on the other connected to it, a sofa where 100-pound dumbbells, or more, laid near it. On the sofa, seating comfortably, was the Yondaime Raikage. He was a tall 6'5" or 7-foot man. He was a very muscular man, those from the Mr. Universe competitions, with blonde hair and dark skin. He wore shinobi pants, with gold bangle bracelets on each of his wrists, and shinobi sandals as well. Finally, he wore his Raikage robe and hat. Once Darui came in, the Raikage spoke to him. "Alright Darui, even though I can read your B-rank mission report on paper, you insisted on speaking with me since you said that your team found a development. Hi Raikage-sama. Before I speak about the development, I would like to explain the mission success," said Darui. For next 10 minutes, or more, don't know, Darui explained to the Raikage about what had happened on the mission, which the Raikage was pleased to hear. After he let the Raikage digest his mission report, he then began to explain what his team had stumbled upon in their arms. "Raikage-sama, as we were ready to get some rest for the night in a cave, I was the last to go in. when I decided to check the waterfall to check that water won't pour in the cave. It was then I saw a young boy fall from the top of the waterfall, which I immediately caught. Once I caught him, I saw that he had multiple injuries. I had C to check and help him out. After C finished with him, he showed me something interesting about the boy," said Darui. The Raikage was interested in learning what Darui and C found out about the boy. Darui took a moment to breathe some air before saying, "We both saw a seal on the boy's stomach. It looked to be a very powerful seal. My only assumption is that he is a Jinchuriki," finished Darui. Both A and Mabui, who was still inside the office, were completely surprised by Darui. The Raikage immediately asked questions. "Darui, are you sure?" asked Raikage. "Yes, although I'm not sure of it myself. That is why we brought him here and get your opinion about Raikage-sama," answered Darui. "Where did you say you found the boy?" Darui asked for a map of the terrain west near the border of Hai no Kuni. Darui pointed on the map, where the waterfall was located, which both Raikage and Mabui looked at. It was then Mabui spoke up. "Raikage-sama, that waterfall is connected to a river that moves from east to west. Judging from the river to the west, I say it was near Konoha." With that, a thought about it, which he concluded, "I believe that you, Darui, have found Konoha's Kyubi no Jinchuriki," which surprised Darui. Then asked where the boy is now, which Darui told him that he left him in C's care to take to the hospital and not to leave him alone until he got word from him. Told Mabui that he is leaving the office and she would take care of things here, since he wants to see the boy cause he got a suspicious feeling that he knows who the boy is. If he guessed right, then Kumo had just received the jackpot in possible glory and power. Kumo's hospital. Currently, C was sitting inside a hospital room, waiting for Darui or Raikage's word on him to let him go and rest. As he sat, he looked at the boy on the bed he was sitting next to. He was amazed at how fast the boy's healing abilities are, but reminded himself that if he is a Jinchuriki, then it wouldn't be unusual for Jinchurikis to get a special power from their Biju. Naruto was resting peacefully in a hospital bed. As he rested, he had no idea what had happened to him. C waited for a couple of more minutes, when he heard knocking at the door. He went and opened the door to see Darui with the Raikage. He bowed to the Raikage, which he led them inside the room. Quickly went to the boy's bedside to see his face clearly. It was then that he smiled, since he guessed the possibility that he was right. "Well, Darui, it seems that you have indeed brought home something interesting. And if I do things right with the boy, unlike what Konoha has done, then we'll have a very powerful shinobi in the making in our ranks," said Both Darui and C were wondering what the Raikage was planning, but stopped their thoughts when A spoke to again. "C. Inform the medic Neen's here to alert me when the boy wakes up. Also, once he wakes up, give something to eat, since even I can tell that the boy hasn't eaten anything good for a while. After that you may go and get some rest from your mission order A." "Hi, Raikage-sama," answered C, which he then left the room to inform the medical units. Then turned to Darui and said, "Now Darui, since you brought him here, I'll have to give you and your team a bonus for this." Which Darui smiled. "Now go and get some rest, but before you do rest, I want you to inform B and Yujito to visit my office later on in the afternoon," ordered Darui nodded in agreement and left, which A was the last to leave. Before he left the room, he looked at the blonde-haired boy, while thinking, even though I could just get the Kyubi out of him, it is better if he becomes loyal to us, since Konoha has thrown away a prize like no other. I will not let this opportunity pass us by. Plus, I would at least show some respect to my only rival son. After all, he is the only one that surpasses me in speed. A thought about the only person to actually surpass him in speed, the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. It was mid-morning and currently, the third Hokage was walking towards the cemetery with some flowers in his hands. These were beautiful flowers. A couple of white lilies to take where all people are resting in peace, Konoha's graveyard. Once he walked inside the graveyard, he peacefully walked toward 3 specific graves that were close together. In front of him, the 3 graves were significant, since these 3 are a family in both blood and now spirit. On his left side, it was Konoha's strongest Hokage and hero in the Third Great Shinobi War, Minato Namikaze the Yondaime Hokage. Next to it, it was an unmarked grave, which he mentally noted that it needed to be marked later on. The grave had no name since it was a person that no one knew much except for her good friends. The grave had only the Uzumaki symbol. The third knew that this grave was Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto's mother, and the fourth Hokage's secret wife. Next to these graves was their greatest treasure, the treasure that they sacrificed everything including their own lives. Their only son, Naruto Uzumaki. The only thing is that it was unmarked except with the Uzumaki symbol, since he wanted no one to desecrate it because of their past grudge against the Kyuubi. He wanted Naruto's grave to be at peace since he wanted these three people to be at peace together, as a family here in death, and in the afterlife. The third placed the white lily flowers on each one of their graves so they know that they will never be forgotten by those that care about them. As he places the flowers, he could only wish that Naruto's body was here except it wasn't. After a few days of searching, Samui's tracking team followed the river to try and find Naruto, but there wasn't any sign of him. Once he had gotten the report, the third decided to just bury the things that were of him so at least they knew that his spirit was at peace. Once he finished his prayers, he left to go back to the Hokage tower since unlike the dead, he still needed to do his work for the village. As the third made it to the tower, he steadily walked towards his office. As he climbed up the tower, he figured that now would be the time to send word to Jiraiya about Naruto since Jiraiya was the only other person close to Naruto and his family. Once he made it to his office, he opened the door to find the elders inside his office, waiting for him. "Sarutobi, where were you? Usually at this time, you would be here," stated Koharu. "I went and paid my respects to my predecessor and his family." "Got a problem with that?" answered the third. Koharu didn't speak about it since it was true. The elders knew that with Naruto's death, the last known heir to both the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans was now gone from Konoha. "Sarutobi, even though respecting the fourth Hokage and his long-lost family as well and all, we must think about the village. More importantly, the village's military power," stated Danzo. Sarutobi listened as Hamura, Koharu and Danzo explained about how their village's strength had just taken a blow with losing their Jinchuriki as well as losing the heir of the Namikaze and Uzumaki. It was then that he heard Danzo had a plan to help the village get back its lost strength, which Sarutobi frowned as he listened to Danzo explain where he could get a new Jinchuriki. Days earlier, it was early evening in Kumo, where a lot of families were getting ready to enjoy dinner, while Shinobi prepared to go on a mission or whatever. For the Raikage, he was getting ready to talk with the village's strongest guardians, his adopted brother B, the Hachibi no Kyuyan and 16-year-old, Yujuto and I the Nibi no Bakaniko. As they waited, he couldn't help but think on how he would get the boy to join Kumo, but hearing and seeing his condition, he knew that if he pushed the right buttons at him, then Naruto would want to stay here and train to be a powerful shinobi for them. His thoughts were interrupted when his secretary came into his office to inform her that B and Yujuto were here. Once they both entered, B was the first to talk. "Yo bro, what's up?" "So what's the beef?" rapped Killer B. "Okay, just to give you all fair warning, I am rhyming so I'll try to make him rhyme. But if Killer B talks like a normal person, don't be discouraged." Aside at his brother's lame attempt to rap or rhyme, while Yujuto just frowned in annoyance, but continued to act maturely in front of the Raikage. It took a moment, which both B and Yujuto straightened up since they knew the look on their leader's face meant something serious had happened. "Darui has returned from his mission earlier today, as you all know." Both nodded, which then continued, but on the way back, Darui and his team had stumbled upon something that virtually landed in their arms. "Darui has brought the Kyuubi Jinchuriki from Konoha to Kumo today." As soon as they stated the fact, both B and Yujuto were surprised to hear that Darui had somehow brought to Kumo another Jinchuriki, and the most powerful of Biju along with it. I began to explain to both of them what happened to the boy once Darui had found him. He explained the wounds, the injuries, everything. For Yujuto, it saddened her since a young boy being in such a beaten state was very hard to imagine. But for B, he knows it too well since, unlike Yugdeo, he knew what it meant to be a true Jinchuriki since he was given almost the same treat if his brother A wasn't there to help him out. Their thoughts were interrupted when A continued currently. "The boy is in the hospital, being cared for. But considering how fast he is healing, I say he might wake up, completely healthy tomorrow." "So why have you contacted us then, Raikage-sama?" asked Yujuto. "I planned to see if the boy would join Kumo. But given the state he was in, he'll most likely join, since I doubt that he would want to go back to Konoha after what he received. Plus, if I'm right, then Kumo would be the heir of 2 powerful clans. Answered A. Yujito didn't know what A meant about the heir of 2 powerful clans, but she had to agree that the boy would most likely join their village, since here, he can get a fresh start and become a normal boy. So bro, what's up with us? Because I don't see why you asked us here for? Asked B. If I play my cards right, he would want to stay, at which point, I will explain to him who he is, to make sure that he knows. After that, I play it by ear. What I want you two to do is be his guidance, since if he meets others like him, the likelihood of wanting to stay here would increase, since he would probably see you two as role models. Stated A. Both B and Yujito nodded, since what A said was pretty much a good plan. Yujito, even though, doesn't have it as bad as B did when she was young, she can understand the fact of being alone as a Jinchuriki. If it wasn't for B being her role model and teacher, she would have never had the courage to continue to move forward and become the kunoichi she was meant to be. B thought the idea was alright, but still didn't like the idea, because he felt that he may be babysitting a 5-year-old. Now, with that explained, A said, breaking the thought that B and Yujito were having, you two are dismissed now. All we need to do is wait for the kid to wake up. Both B and Yujito left to go home and sleep, while A was also thinking the same thing, but also wondered how things would turn out. He can only hope that his plan can work. Morning. The sun was high mid-morning, and stores, vendors, shinobi and such at Kumo were getting up for another day. In Kumo's hospital, a young Naruto was starting to wake from his ordeal. As Naruto was starting to wake up, he could feel that he was sleeping in a soft bed. As he rubbed his eyes, he suddenly remembered what happened to him, the beating, the injuries, the rushing water. He looked at himself, wondering how he could still be alive. He then looked at his surroundings to see that he was inside a hospital room, but he could tell that it was different somehow. He then heard the wind from the window. He didn't hear any of the trees that were always near the hospital. He knew something must be wrong, but before he could do anything, the door to his room opened. He looked to see a young nurse. Oh, so you're awake? I'm glad, since you had everyone worried here. The nurse smiled, which Naruto can tell that it was real, since only the old man, third Hokage, Tsuchi and I ever smile like that to him. His thoughts were interrupted, when his stomach growled loudly, which the nurse smiled and laughed a bit. I can hear that you must be very hungry. Wait right here and I'll go get you something to eat, okay? Said the nurse, which Naruto nodded in agreement. Naruto decided to wait after he got something to eat to move around, since he was just too hungry to do anything. As Naruto waited in bed, the nurse quickly went to the nearest medic nin to inform the Raikage that he was awake. After informing the Raikage, the nurse quickly went to get something good for Naruto to eat, since she can tell that Naruto hasn't had anything proper for a long time now. Naruto waited to see that the nurse came back, with a healthy selection for Naruto's breakfast. The nurse brought Naruto a bowl of mixed fruits, apples, bananas, strawberry, a bowl of cereal and milk, a couple of butter toast with jam, and orange juice. At first, Naruto was a bit hesitant, but the nurse nudged him to eat, while she went and got something for him to wear. Once the nurse left, Naruto started to eat the food that she brought. The food was, but to him who hasn't eaten anything so tasty or fresh besides Ichiraku ramen, it was a 4-course meal. He began to eat the meal, which he ate in less than 10 minutes, since it was the first meal that he had eaten in a long time. Once he was finished, he never felt so good since Ichiraku ramen. But now, with finishing the meal, he starts to wonder what to do next, since he is in an unknown place. Just as he was thinking about it, someone else walked into the room. It was Darui and C, who came as order from the Raikage. Naruto was a little nervous, since he saw that the headbands weren't Konoha leaf symbols, meaning they were from another village. Before Naruto could begin to worry, they both spoke to him. Hey kid, how are you feeling? Better, I hope, especially when I caught you before you hit the rocks on the waterfall. Stated Darui. Naruto was stunned, since he didn't know that he was going to fall into a waterfall. He figured that he must have been so out of it, that he doesn't remember anything else. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted when C spoke up. You really gave us a scary kid, especially since you were at death's door when we found you. It was then that Naruto spoke up. Thank you then for saving my life. Both Darui and C took Naruto's thank you since even though they could have left him there, they were both kind-hearted and would do that to a kid, especially one so badly hurt. Both Darui and C's thoughts were interrupted when Naruto spoke up. So where am I?" asked Naruto. "You are in Kumo. Now we should ask you a question. What's your name and where you're from?" asked Darui. "Uzumaki. Naruto Uzumaki from Konoha," answered Naruto. "Alright, now that we know your name, we'll introduce you to the Raikage, who is the same as the Hokage in our village later on," said C. Naruto was surprised to hear that he is going to be introducing someone who is just as important as the old man, who he usually calls the Hokage. Darui then said that he would be introduced to him later, once he has gotten a little stronger. Once they both left, Naruto couldn't help but be happy since this was the first time anyone has looked at him, beside the third, I am, Tsuchi the ramen chief, without glaring or giving him the cold look in their eyes. It's been a whole day since Naruto had talked to Darui and C. During that time, Naruto was thinking about what was going to happen to him. He also thought about how worried the third is, as well as I am and Tsuchi. Also at that time, he saw a couple of other nurses checking up on him, making sure that he was alright. Naruto had to be honest with himself, thinking about how nice these people are since he didn't see or wasn't given any hostility towards him. Not only were the nurses nice to him, he also got a nice couple of meals, which he couldn't be happier. For lunch, he had fruit, apple and orange slices, peanut butter sandwich, and milk. For dinner, he got rice and curry with water. All in all, Naruto was able to have a stuffy stomach, which for the first time ever, he had actually gotten to eat so much in one day. After he got the meals and rested some more, he felt like a new person. The next morning, Darui and C came back and told him that he was going to see the Raikage later today. Naruto was kinda scared since he doesn't know what kind of person the Raikage is. As he thought about it, he couldn't help but wish that the third Hokage was with him for support. Soon after, Darui and C left to give Naruto some more privacy since he was given some new clothes to wear. Once Naruto had changed his hospital gown to his new clothing, shirt, shorts, and shinobi sandals, he walked outside his hospital room to see Darui and C waiting for him. Both of them told Naruto to follow them since they didn't want him to get lost. Outside, Naruto got to see where and what kind of village he was in. He was surprised to see this. All around him, Naruto saw nothing but mountain ranges which he saw housing and other building-like structures built into them. Naruto continued to follow Darui and C, which Darui walked in front. While C walked behind them, he saw all the people walking around, which he noted that their skin was darker than what he normally saw people. He also noted that there wasn't many trees around the village. For a couple of minutes, the three finally made it to Raikage Tower, which Naruto saw that it was built inside the tallest mountain. Once they went inside, Naruto was amazed at how it was built. He saw many shinobi and other personnel walking around the building, actively busy. Darui led Naruto to the states where all three walked up to the top floor where the Raikage's office was located. Outside the office, the Raikage's personal secretary was filing some documents when she saw Darui and C coming up the stairs with a young boy with whisker marks on both his cheeks. She realized that it was Naruto, the Jinchuriki of Kyubi no Yoko. Darui told Mabui that they were here to see the Raikage, which she went to announce their arrival to him. Naruto was now looking nervous since he was wondering what the Raikage would be like. He had many thoughts running through his mind, but hoped that the Raikage was like the third Hokage. Naruto's thoughts stopped when Mabui said that they were allowed to enter, which they all went in. Naruto tried not to look nervous, but he couldn't help but be a little dizzy by this moment. Once inside, Naruto looked around to see that the office was circular and had opened windows that could see around the village behind it. His attention was quickly focused as he saw what was probably the biggest, muscular person he had ever seen. In front of him was a tall, from what he can tell as the Raikage was sitting down, dark-skinned man with a large muscular body. He had blonde hair that was combed back and a small mustache and beard. His face was distinguished with pronounced cheekbones and tear troughs under his eye and a prominent crease across his forehead. He wore the traditional robes and hat of a kage, but with no shirt on, to display his hulky body. He had gold bangle bracelets on each wrist, and wore a gold belt around his waist with a boar's face engraved in the center. As Naruto was taking it all in, The Raikage was also looking at Naruto too. Even though Naruto was young, the Raikage saw the similarities to Konoha no Kiroi Senko, Konoha's yellow flash, the Yondaime Hokage, mostly of the blonde spiky hair, blue eyes and skin color. But of course, he also saw the similarities of his mother, the former Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, Kushina Uzumaki. When he heard that the boy's name was Naruto Uzumaki, he was able to figure out that he was Kushina's son. But now seeing him in front of him, he knew that Minato and Kushina had gotten married. Once they met, the Raikage decided to break the ice and play by ear since he doesn't know how much Naruto knows of his past. "Hello, young one," said politely. Naruto also greeted the Raikage with respect since he knew that unlike the old man, the way the Raikage holds himself, he knew that he needs to be at his best behavior here. Once they greet each other, A continues to speak. "You gave my men quite the scare, especially in the condition that they found you. I hope you thank them for saving your life," said A. Naruto nodded in agreement, saying that he did thank both Darui and C. It was then that the Raikage decided to ask Naruto a question. "Even though I know that they saved you from death, I can't help but wonder something." Which got Naruto's attention. "Why were you inside a raging river in the first place?" asked A. Naruto, of course, knew why he was in the river, but he just doesn't know why the villagers hated him so much and gave him beatings. The Raikage asked Naruto why he was in it, which he told him since it would be bad if he lied to the Raikage. After Naruto finished explaining, the Raikage only had a serious look, while Darui and C had a painful look on their face on what Naruto's been through. The Raikage waited for a bit for the tension that Naruto was going through, as he could see in Naruto's face the look of fear and loneliness. It was then that the Raikage broke the silence. "Do you want to know why the people in your village despise you?" Naruto's eyes widened when he heard that the Raikage knows why the villagers hate him so much. "I'm pretty sure that the old monkey, the third Hokage, has told you about the Kyuubi attack on Konoha." Naruto nodded as he remembered what the old man told him before. He remembered that 5 years ago, the Kyuubi came to Konoha and started to destroy everything in its path. Many shinobi and civilians were killed in the process. But it wasn't until the legendary Yondaime Hokage had killed the fox. But it cost him his life in the process. It was then that the Raikage began to fill Naruto with some facts. "Now look here, kid. The Kyuubi can't not be killed, in fact none of the Bijus can't be killed," stated the Raikage, which Naruto was beginning to wonder on what is a Biju, but stopped as the Raikage continued. "Instead of killing it, the fourth could only seal it away so it couldn't destroy all of Konoha. He sealed it inside a little baby." Naruto never heard of this, but he wondered if it was true, then why he doesn't know about it. Plus, what does this story have to do with him? It was then that Naruto heard the Raikage give him some other facts. "Listen, Naruto, when did the Kyuubi attack?" questioned Raikage. "October 10th, answered Naruto. "What day were you born?" the Raikage asked again. "October 10th, answered Naruto. "Do you see where I'm going? If the Kyuubi attack happened on the same day you're born, and the fourth could only seal away into a young baby, what do you think happened?" questioned Raikage. It was then that Naruto began to see the gaps of what he was being told. He can start seeing things more thoroughly, all the beatings, especially the harsh treatment on his birthday, on why everyone calls him Demon. Just before he could say it, he heard the Raikage speak up. "That's right, the fourth sealed the Kyuubi into you. You are the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yoko," stated the Raikage. Naruto just had a look of shock and fear since he doesn't know what to think. Instinct quickly took over, which he first just slowly back away, then just started to run away, like he needed to get away from everyone. Darui, C, and Mabui were about to stop him, but A told them to stop. A carefully looked at Naruto's expressions before he ran away. Once Naruto ran away, Darui, C, and Mabui looked at the Raikage on why he let Naruto go. "Let the boy go for now. He has just been told something that opened his eyes and realized what he has been lied to, especially one that was never explained to. Let him be alone for now. I already have our Ambu watching the boy so he doesn't go anywhere. We don't want him to go or get in trouble," A explained. The others could understand, since for a small child, news this big and heavy must be hard to endure, especially when everyone else knew and you didn't. With Naruto ran outside the Raikage mountain, trying to go anywhere alone. He ran for about half an hour until he made it to a secluded spot. In that half hour, Naruto ran towards the other half of the village in Kumo, not even noticing it himself. The Umbu that were keeping an eye on him were amazed at how an ordinary child was able to run so far in such a short time. But to their surprise, Naruto ran towards an area where Killer Bee sometimes hangs around. Naruto ran towards an open lake that had a lot of grass terrain, with a few bushes and trees around the area. Naruto just stopped at the edge of the lake, which he then fell to his knees from exhaustion. As he rested and got his breath to catch up to him, he looked at the lake, where the water's reflections showed his face. He looked at the water, which then remembered all the people of Konoha said about it. "Get away, you demon," said one person. "Don't go near him, it's the demon," whispered another. "Hey, it's the freak," another yelled out. Naruto looked at the reflection to see himself, but then from all the comments that Konoha said, he then saw the reflection of Kyubi as himself. He thought with tears coming out of his eyes, "Is this why everyone in Konoha hates me? Is this why they always beat me? Am I really the Kai?" Naruto's thoughts were interrupted when he heard someone say, "Hey Squirt, what's with all the huffing and trembling?" Naruto looked behind him, away from the water's reflection, while also rubbing the tears of his face, to see a huge person behind him. It was a dark-skinned man with a muscular body, similar to the Raikage. He had a white beard and hair. He had a tattoo on his right shoulder that says Iron, and on his left cheek had a tattoo of a bull's horn. He wore oval-shaped sunglasses and a white-colored forehead protector. He also wore a white-colored one-strap over one shoulder flak jacket of a jonin with a red rope tied around his waist, white handbands, and a white scarf around his neck, and carried 7 swords on his back. Before Naruto could say anything, the older man looked at him for a moment before saying, "Oh, so you're the kid who has the 9-0, huh?" Naruto said in confusion. "I said you have 9-0, the Kyubi no Yoko," stated the older man. How do you know?" surprised Naruto, since he didn't know if everyone in Kumo knows this or not, that he is the Kyubi. "'Cause like you, I have one as well," said the older man. "You have one as well?" surprised Naruto. "Let me introduce myself. I float like a butterfly, and sting like a bee. I Killer Bee, the 8-tailed beast, word," rapped Killer Bee. Killer Bee was actually surprised when he saw Naruto, since the Hachibi told him when he saw him that he is the Jinchuriki of Kyubi. In honesty, Killer Bee didn't want to see Naruto yet, since he figured he would be put as a babysitter, and decided to leave that task to Yujito, since she was also the Jinchuriki of Nibi. "You're what?" asked Naruto. "I'm Killer Bee, and like you I hold one as well, old Ado," said Killer Bee. "How do you know I have the Kyubi?" asked Naruto. "'Cause Ado said you have 9-0, answered Killer Bee. "Are you saying that you are the 8 tails, like I'm the 9? said Naruto. Killer Bee then just scoffed when Naruto said that, to which he replied, "No. I'm Killer Bee, 8-0 is my partner. Like you are you, and 9-0 is 9-0. Naruto was confused since he didn't get what Killer Bee was saying, since, educationally speaking, Naruto was barely taught any reading, writing and math skills, so he barely understood anything complex like what he was being told. Killer Bee could see the confusion, which he started to explain that he and Naruto were, in simple terms for Naruto to understand, just the jails that hold the jailers. It took Naruto a bit of time to understand that Kyubi was Kyubi and he was himself. Killer Bee can see that Naruto was now better, since he saw Naruto look at his reflection on the water, before splashing the image away to see the water calm down again to see his reflection again. Killer Bee guessed that Naruto first imagined himself before breaking the image to see his own reflection. Naruto thanked Killer Bee for telling him this, since he barely understood what was going on with himself. After all, Naruto is just 5 years old and was supposed to start learning how to read and write, not knowing complicated stuff like this. After a while of looking over the lake, Naruto asked Killer Bee some things, like how can he be so cheerful when he has a biju inside him? Or how can he be so strong knowing this? Naturally, Killer Bee said it in a rap tone, but Naruto was able to understand some of it, which he found out that his brother, the Raikage, had faith in him along with some of his friends. Naruto was envious of him since Killer Bee has friends, which he explained why. For Naruto, the only people that ever showed him kindness was the third Hokage, Ayumi and Tuchi of the ramen stand, while the third was the only one to have faith in him. All the other children just stayed away from him because he heard their parents telling them to. Killer Bee can understand that, since when he became a Jinchuriki for the Hachibi, he had the same thing, except not as severe as Naruto, since even though he was left all alone some of the time, no one has ever given him a beating or the stuff that Naruto went through. As they talked, Naruto actually felt better since he had someone who actually understands what he went through. After a while, Killer Bee suggested that they go to his brother since he was pretty sure that he still wants to talk to Naruto, which he nodded. Naruto was walking with Killer Bee towards the Raikage's office, which for the first time, he was actually looking at Kumo. He saw the civilians and ninja that were walking around. The civilians smiled nicely at him, while the shinobi looked at Killer Bee with respect and admiration. As he looked at everyone that was looking at Killer Bee, he remembered that was what he wished for, to earn everyone's respect and not look down on him. It was then that he remembered that he wanted to be Hokage. Naruto stopped thinking when Killer Bee said to him that they were here. Naruto returned back to the Raikage mountain, where the Raikage's office was located at the top. It took a bit until Killer Bee led Naruto back to the top of the mountain. Once they reached the top, Naruto was once again greeted by Mabui, who was surprised to see Killer Bee with him. Killer Bee told Mabui that he brought him back here so the Raikage can figure out what to do with Naruto. Killer Bee said his goodbye to Naruto, as he had his own thing to do. Naruto then followed Mabui, who took inside the Raikage's office. The Raikage was doing some paperwork when Mabui came inside with Naruto with her. I was wondering when Naruto came back, when Mabui walked next to him and told him that Killer Bee brought him back. The Raikage nodded in understanding, since he figured that Bee must have done something since he can see that Naruto has somewhat come to terms with himself. Once Mabui finished explaining to the Raikage, she took her leave, which left Naruto and the Raikage alone. It seems now that you have somewhat come to terms on finding out that you have the QB sealed inside you, stated the Raikage, which Naruto nodded in agreement. So, what do you plan to do now? Asked. I don't know. After finding out about the QB, I just don't know. I could always go back to Konoha. I mentally frowned when he heard that, but decided to wait on what Naruto said next to see what he chooses first. But thinking about going back to Konoha makes me remember all the times the people were happy to see me get hurt, or plainly look at me in disgust. The truth is, if it wasn't for the old man, or Ayam and Tuchi there, I wouldn't want to be there. Finished Naruto. I nodded since this was going good for him. His thoughts stopped when Naruto continued. Those three are the only people that look at me as a person, while everyone else thinks of me as just a monster, nothing more. But even so, I don't know where else to go since Konoha has been my home for all my life. Well, if you want, you can always stay here in Kumo since you don't feel like going back to Konoha, said A, which surprised Naruto on being given a chance for a fresh start in a new village. If you decide to stay, you can live here in Kumo, and if you wish to become a shinobi for Kumo, I will allow you to join. How does that sound? A asked Naruto. Naruto was thrilled since not only does he get the chance to start out new in Kumo, if he wanted to, he can also become a shinobi as well. But of course, Naruto thought about the third Hokage, Ayam and Tuchi, and how sad they must be. But he remembered them saying that they wished he had a better life than the one he has now. With this, he can. Naruto looked at the Raikage before saying yes. I'd like to stay here. Answering a question. I was pleased since he saw Naruto having a few moments of thinking it over, but was pleased with the results. Now, A has decided to let him be by himself for now, and if Naruto decided to become shinobi, he knows just the type of motivation that he knows that would get Naruto to become a strong shinobi, as well as seeing how strong the legacy that he carries really is. With that, A had Mabui come back to his office, where he instructed her to get things ready for Kumo's newest citizen, which she nodded in agreement. With that, the Raikage told Naruto to go around Kumo to see what they have, and would get him when everything was ready. Naruto nodded, which he then left to go exploring around the village. With Naruto, Naruto walked outside the Raikage mountain and left to go exploring. As he walked around, he looked at how the village was so active with life. He saw men and women, shopping, talking, and enjoying themselves, along with children playing around. Naruto continued his little journey until he found a nice park. He walked inside to see that it was just as nice as Konoha, with the exception that it had a few more boulders around the area. He He continued to walk around until he heard some children playing around. He was going to try and join them, but decided to wait since he doesn't want to make a bad impression. He decided to go to a nearby tree and lay next to it where he was easily visible to any of them. He waited for a while he watched the clouds passing by gently with the wind. Along with wait, he also thought if he can finally be able to make friends, earn respect, be someone and not just being called demon, since he remembered all the days of hardship he had to endure. In fact, even at night, he can barely sleep since he hardly had a good night's sleep, along with the added fact that sometimes someone would come and try to hurt him while he was asleep. With the day going through, Naruto couldn't help but find peace in the environment, where he just took a nap. Later, it was mid-afternoon when Naruto woke up from his nap, when he was woken up by someone. He looked around to see no one around him. He wondered who it was, but then heard the voice again. "You know, it's cool for you to take a nap, but it's uncool to be sleeping outside where somebody can play tricks on you like that," said a girl voice. Naruto looked behind the tree that he had slept next to see a blonde-haired girl sitting behind the tree that he was next to. He walked around to get a better view of the girl. He turned to see a cute girl with pale skin and long blonde hair that reached the middle of her back that looked to be the same age as him. She had blue eyes, but a darker color. The thing that caught his attention was that she had this cool, emotionless look on her face. The girl was also taking a closer look at Naruto as he was looking at her as well. As she was looking at Naruto, Naruto noticed that the girl was holding a book with her. Both of them were looking at each for a few moments, until Naruto decided to break the ice. Thanks for giving me the advice. I guess that I just got too peaceful looking at the clouds that I checked out," said Naruto. "It's cool. Besides, the little bit of snoring was kinda bothering me," stated the girl. "Oh really? Well, sorry about that. What's your name?" asked Naruto. The girl looked at Naruto before saying, "My name is Samui. And would you be cool enough to say your name?" "Hi Samui-chan. My name is Uzumaki Naruto," greeted Naruto. Samui acknowledges Naruto's greeting, even with the chan that Naruto added to her name, before going back to her book. Just as she was going to read her book, Naruto spoke to her again. What kind of book are you reading?" Samui just sighs as she regrets now sitting in this spot where Naruto was located. Samui looked at Naruto and told him that it was a simple children's book of Kumo that she got from the library, and that she was reading about it so she can improve herself. To be honest, Samui wanted a Kumo history book, but the librarian wouldn't allow her since she was still too young. Naruto asked her if she could read the book out loud because of some of the stories that the third had told him before. "I'm not going to tell you. If you were cool enough, how about you go and ask your parents since they can teach you how to read?" answered Samui. "I don't have any parents. I'm an orphan, you see," stated Naruto. "Then why aren't you in Kumo's orphanage since that's where orphans live?" asked Samui. "It's because I just came to your village just a couple of days ago. I don't know much since this is the first time I got to see the village since I was stuck in the hospital," answered Naruto. "I see. If you want to know about Kumo or read children's books like this, then I suggest that it would be a cool idea to go to the library since you can read about Kumo from there," stated Samui. I don't know how to read. I was never taught much on how to read or write, so I was hoping you could tell me since I can't," embarrassed Naruto. Samui looked at Naruto, as she could see that Naruto wasn't lying. She said that it was alright, which she would read out loud to him, while he listened. Naruto quickly sits next to Samui, while making sure that she has her own personal space so he doesn't annoy her. For the first time, Naruto felt like he made a friend of sorts, which he smiled as he listened to Samui read out loud from the book. Late afternoon, the sun was just starting to set when Darui and C went looking for Naruto. The reason they were looking for Naruto was because the Raikage asked them to bring him to him, as well as since they were the only one of a few people that knows what Naruto looks like. Both Darui and C looked for a while until they found Naruto at one of the parks. They spotted Naruto sitting next to a blonde-haired girl. From what they can tell, they can see that Naruto was listening to what the girl was saying from the book. They made their way towards Naruto, which both Naruto and Samui looked up to, see the two shinobi in front of them. Samui was surprised to see two shinobi in front of her, which she was even more surprised to hear what they said. "Naruto-san, The Raikage has requested that you meet him now. He says he wants to talk to you about something," said Darui. Naruto nodded and said his goodbye to Samui, and said that he hopes to see her again. Raikage's office. Naruto had returned to the Raikage's office, while the Raikage was waiting for him. Once the Raikage explained to Naruto that he got Naruto an apartment that was located in the middle of the village, where it was easily accessible to reach either the civilian school or Shinobi Academy, or the Raikage Mountain as well. Naruto was very thankful, especially since the Raikage said that he was given Naruto a small allowance for him to use to buy food and things he needed to survive. Naruto was also pleased to hear that the Raikage enrolled him into the civilian schools so that he can learn how to read, write, and other things, while if Naruto wanted to join the Shinobi Academy, then he would have to wait until he is 7 or 8 years old to join. Now Naruto, as you know, I already told you that you have the Kyuubi sealed inside you. Which Naruto nodded. With that, I'll be going to tell you that I'm going to tell the rest of my shinobi about it, stated the Raikage. Naruto started to get worried, but then calmed down when the Raikage continued to explain, don't worry. I'll be going to tell them to only tell current shinobi in Kumo, but never to any civilians. If anyone has the right to tell them, it should be you since it is your secret. Understand? Naruto nodded in agreement, as well as being relieved to know that his secret remains a secret. With that, they excused Naruto to go check out his new apartment, and to be ready to begin his new life in Kumo. Currently, it was a bright and sunny day for everyone. The citizens were busy smiling and living out their lives in peace, while the shinobi continued to train and grow strong in order to protect their home. For the third Hokage, it was a day for him to continue to get ready for the upcoming event for Konoha, the Genin graduation exam. The Hokage was looking over the soon-to-be Genin graduates. One of them was the last and heir of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke Uchiha. As he thought about Sasuke, he couldn't help but think about Naruto, since if it wasn't for the civilians as well as the irresponsibility of some of his shinobi, Naruto would have become a shinobi for Konoha as well. As he thought about Naruto, he couldn't help on what happened over the past 8 years. With Naruto's death, the third remembered how happy the villagers were to know that the demon is dead. Of course he punished the Umbu that was supposed to have protected Naruto, while he also heard Danzo also discipline his rude agent that also had to keep an eye on him as well. After Naruto's death, the next thing to happen was Kumo's peace agreement, which went well without a hitch. With the peace treaty, Konoha didn't have to worry much about Kumo, which he and the elders had to wonder about since making the arrangement was a simple thing, which Kumo made the agreements even for both Konoha and themselves. The final thing to happen was the Uchiha clan massacre, in which Sasuke's older brother, Itachi Uchiha, killed every last member, from his father, mother to his cousins. Everyone in the Uchiha clan was killed except his little brother, Sasuke. With the Uchiha clan lost, the civilians thought that Sasuke could resurrect the Uchiha clan to glory and treated him special since he was in Uchiha. With that, the third looked at the portfolio on the final genin that could be graduating this year. The potential genin's name was Ko, and he was the Jinchuriki of the Sanbai. Sarutobi remembered the conversation that he had with the elders, in which all three of them agreed that they needed to get another Jinchuriki since they lost Naruto. Sarutobi remembered that day pretty well. Flashback. The third had walked into his office where he was greeted by the shinobi elders. They asked where he was, to which he told them that he went to pay a visit to the fourth Hokage and his family grave. After explaining, the elders talked to Hiruzen about the loss of military might, the Kyuubi. They discussed the issue for a bit, to which Danzo told the third that he had a plan to have another Biju in Konoha. The third was against it, but the other two elders, Hamura and Koharu, wanted to know what Danzo planned. Now, as you all know, Kiri is under civil war from the bloodline purging, right? Said Danzo, which they nodded. During that time, I overheard a rumor, which I sent a few shinobi to investigate the matter, which was verified. The Yonde Mizukage was killed, but not before he released the Sanbai free from his seal right before he was killed. As of now, the Kiri civil war is almost over, but before then, we can send a team of elite sealers to capture the Sanbai and seal it inside another child. Finished Danzo. Hamura and Koharu were somewhat pleased about the idea, but Sarutobi was having mixed feelings since capturing the Sanbai could cause them to lose a lot of manpower, which Konoha was still recovering from. But the elders agreed with the idea and continued to work on the third until he agreed, which he did. Of course, for safety and secrecy, the third said that no one besides the people who are going to do this operation would know of it, since the third doesn't want a repeat like with Naruto, which the elders agreed on. End flashback. It took about a month to complete the mission, which involved some of the third's skilled Anbu sealers as well as some of Danzo's own men to find and capture the Sanbai in secret. Of course, this cost some of their men's lives, since capturing the Sanbai was dangerous. With the Sanbai in Konoha's position now, Danzo had picked a boy from his root organization that he trained. The boy's name was Ko, who had average skills and determination, but still a perfect candidate for containing the Sanbai since he had a strong chakra network. Once the Sanbai was sealed, Danzo had the boy trained in his root program to control the Biju within him, but of course, Sarutobi knew that Danzo wanted to control the boy for his own use, just like he hoped he can do with Naruto. But he stopped Danzo by putting the boy in a shinobi academy, making sure that he can live a normal life, since he wanted to make sure that Danzo doesn't corrupt him any more than he did. As he thought about Ko, he remembered what happened when he explained to Jiraiya about Naruto's death. When he told Jiraiya about Naruto, he was completely saddened and went into despair. He knew that Jiraiya had planned to train the boy once he became a genin, like he did with Naruto's father, the Yondaime Hokage. It went on for months until Jiraiya got himself back to normal. But still the third can see that Jiraiya was now carrying an even heavier amount of guilt and regret for failing his former student and friend, along with failing Naruto as his godfather. Sarutobi's thoughts were interrupted when someone entered his door. He saw Hamura and Koharu walking into his office, where they came to talk about the upcoming genin exams, which they wondered on which possible children would be teamed up together. He went to discuss the matter with them. While unknown to him, or anyone for that matter, the soul that was thought to be dead was also preparing for his own genin exam. In Kumo, like Konoha, everyone was busy with what they were doing. The civilians were working hard and happily for their families, while the shinobi continued to train hard when they needed to protect their village. For one villager, it was an important day for him. He was a young upcoming genin, who has gotten a lot of attention around Kumo, one who is golden for Rookie of the Year in Kumo. He was easily recognized since he had blonde spiky hair, blue cerulean eyes. But the thing that got people to notice him was his whisker marks on both his cheeks with a serious look on his face. He was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the future Godame Raikage of Kumo. The reason he has a serious face, beside his usual friendly smiling one, was because he won the deal he made with the Raikage when he first wanted to become a shinobi. Flashback. A 7-year-old Naruto was currently inside the Raikage's office asking that he wants to become a shinobi for Kumo. Was curious about it, since from the reports of his Anbu that secretly watched Naruto for the past 2 years, he was living a normal, happy life as a civilian. Why do you want to become a shinobi, Naruto? What's your reason? Question A. Naruto thought about it for a minute, since he had a lot of time thinking it over, and he wanted to say his feelings out loud to him. I want to become a shinobi because of you, but mostly because of B-san and Yujito-nichin, replied Naruto. I looked at Naruto, as he explained why he wanted to become a ninja. He said that even though he was living a happy life now, with friends thanks to him, but he saw how people looked at how strong A was, but mostly on how B was so confident even when he was the Jinchuriki like him. Over the few years, Naruto had gotten along with B as a role model, since like him, B had suffered as well. While he later met Yujito, he found out that she was the Jinchuriki of Nibi no Bakeniko. Yujito had to work really hard as a shinobi since she wanted to prove that she was strong enough to use her power as a Jinchuriki to help the people she cared for. Naruto had witnessed from them the kind of confidence they had and care for the village they called home, which in return, they were respected and were beloved by others as heroes. Naruto wanted to do the same since this village gave him things that Konoha didn't like: kindness and friendship. In fact, he told some of his friends that he was like Yujito and B and that he was the Jinchuriki of Kyubi, which many had their own opinion from cool to scared, which a few stopped being his friend and gave a cold shoulder. When A heard this, he can tell from the look on Naruto's eyes that he was serious and determined to become strong and protect the village with his life if he needed to. As he looked at Naruto, he had an idea pop into his head. From the look on his face, he is telling the truth. I guess hanging out with B and Yujito did a lot of good for him, as well as seeing me in command. With his mindset he can become an excellent shinobi like his father. That's it. If I make a deal with him that would motivate him, then I can see how strong the bloodline of the heir and final known member of the Namikaze/Uzumaki clan. Thought A. Alright then Naruto, you can go join the academy. Said A, which Naruto smiled about, but then stopped when A spoke up again. With that being said, how about we make a little wager on it? Smirk A. Wager? What kind of wager? Confused Naruto. How about this? If you have all excellent grades from here to graduation and graduate as Rookie of the Year, I will tell you who your parents were. Said A. Naruto was shocked as of right now, the Raikage was the one person right now, beside the third Hokage, to know who his parents are and he was willing to tell him about it. But before he can ask why he can't tell him now, A spoke again. If you are wondering why I just don't tell you who they are, it is because you are still young and may take things the wrong way. With this, you'll mature and learn things, as well as be more prepared to know who your mother and father are. Plus, I know for a fact that your father was an honorable man, who even I respected, and I feel that I would at least give him some respect and tell his son about him when he was ready, which I believe is when you become a shinobi. So what do you say, do you agree on the wager? Asked A. Naruto nodded in acceptance since the Raikage was only thinking about what's best for him. But of course the Raikage also said along with the gain, if Naruto doesn't graduate as Rookie of the Year, he wouldn't be told who his parents are. End flashback. Over the next 4 years, Naruto has studied and trained harder than anyone else in the Ninja Academy, so he can finally find out who his parents are. Even though he has trained harder than anyone else, he also learned to enjoy life as Killer Bee while Yujito helps him giving some valuable advice. Why have power when you don't have a reason to use it for? So over the years, Naruto had made friends with his classmates. When he wasn't studying or training, he would hang out and enjoy life like any other kid. But now, he couldn't help but think about what he learned from the Raikage. To know that the Yondaime Hokage, the one that sealed the Kyuubi inside him, was his own father was stunning to him, as well as to know that his own mother was the former Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yoko. As he learned about his parents' identity, he wondered what happened to them since he guessed that they died on the day he was born. Even though he thought about it, he had to put that aside from his mind for now, since he had his Genin final exam to pass, which he would then become a shinobi for Kumo and his next step on becoming the next Raikage. In the classroom, there were students walking in and having some fun or preparing for the Genin exam that they were going to do, as they were chatting around with friends or preparing for what to expect for the Genin exam. Most of the girls in the room just noticed the heart-throb of their class walk-in. Walking in was Naruto, who for the past 4 years in the academy, has grown not only as a shinobi but also as a person. Naruto had a cheerful, friendly and fun attitude that got along pretty well with everyone, but that was only when he wasn't serious or on guard for anything. When Naruto was serious, he was a completely different person, which all the academy students know, which he turned from a fun guy into a serious, focused, strong shinobi that the girls like. Plus the clothing he was wearing also highlighted as well. Naruto has grown from a 5-year-old child that was too scared to sleep at night, into a strong 12-year-old. He was fairly tall for someone his age. He was 4 feet 9 inches tall. He wore dark, baggy cargo pants that had compact pockets on the sides with steel-tipped boots. He wore a sleeveless fishnet shirt underneath his sleeveless dark green vest. He also was wearing black fingerless gloves with a flat metal piece on the back of his hands, while also having both his forearms bandaged up from the wrist to the elbow. On his back he had one of a few weapons that made everyone know how strong he is. On his back, he had a durable bow, similar to Hawkeye in the Avengers without the laser sights, but no arrows. The reason why he doesn't have any arrows behind his back is because he has his arrows on his left forearm, sealed inside waiting to be unsealed, which he had a total of 20 arrows in 2 seals, which was below another the main seal where he had his kunai, 10. On his right forearm, he had 3 more seals on him that had another pair of kunai, 10, with 2 seals that hold pairs of shuriken, 10 each. Of course the students in the room knew that the bow was the only visible weapon, since Naruto had a few more hidden things and abilities that he trained hard to master that gave him the nickname from his peers, the Yellow Blade. As Naruto entered the classroom, he made his way to his seat near his good friend Omo. Naruto and Omoi had a pretty good relationship, which many believed that they were best friends. Of course, many girls had asked or bribed Omoi into helping them get Naruto to be their boyfriend, but to no avail. Omoi was a tall, bit smaller than Naruto, 4 feet 6 inches foot, wearing standard shinobi clothing, black pants, shinobi sandals, and brown shirt that was comfortable but reliable in the field, while also wearing a katana as well as having a weapons pouch on his waist. He had a dull face that would turn serious when he starts overthinking on things that could get him in trouble, or leading up to trouble, which Naruto finds funny sometimes on the fact that they are beyond reason. Omoi saw Naruto take his seat next to him, and tried to start a conversation with him, but saw that Naruto had a serious face on him, which he can tell that Naruto had something important in his mind. As Omoi looked at him, while Naruto's fan club looked at Naruto's serious face, Naruto was thinking about his parents, the Yondaime Hokage and the previous Jinchuriki of Kyubi, while also thinking what he has gone through in Konoha, then here in Kumo. With his parents, he had so many questions since his father was the Yondaime Hokage, while his mother was the former Jinchuriki of Kyubi. Even though he has so many questions on finding out that his hero he admired back in Konoha was his father that sealed Kyubi in him, while wondering what happened to his mother. He also thought about how the old man, the third Hokage, had lied to him in his face since he asked several times who his parents are, and he said he doesn't know or some other excuse. Before he can even start thinking about them, he decided to put it at the back of his head for now since he has a genin test to pass right now. Remembering the material for the exam also got him remembering how he first started school when he was 5, just starting to learn how to read, write, and math. Naruto was only 5 when he started to go to civilian school in order to learn. At the beginning, he was having a hard time learning since he wasn't taught much academic stuff and the curriculum required him to know this. But thanks to some students he made friends with as well as some helpful shinobi teachers that understood his problem, he was able to learn how to read, write, and do mathematics to the standard requirement. Of course, that was only the requirement during his own time. He studied just any regular kid his age would do, while having fun with his friends after school and such. It wasn't until he joined Kumo's Shinobi Academy as well as the bet he made with A that he completely applied himself in his studies, while also learning to enjoy hanging out with his friends. During his time in the academy, he found that he had a real knack for Fuinjutsu, the art of seals. It all started when he was in his 3rd year, when the academy teachers started teaching them the areas of ninjutsu. Flashback. It was early afternoon. The entire class had just finished with their lunch break and was now ready to go on with class. Everyone was relieved to end their class outside of taijutsu, and were excited to finally start learning the awaited subject that everyone wants to do, ninjutsu. Class was now midway, when the teachers started to explain ninjutsu, which everyone had the look of joy since many wanted to learn how to do cool ninjutsu. Of course the instructors saw the looks, so they decided to drop the ball on them. They said that they will learn ninjutsu in their final year, not this year. This got the class down when the instructors told them that they were going to explain the different types of ninjutsu. Alright class? Getting the class attention. Who can tell me the areas of ninjutsu? Many wondered what it could be, where many didn't know what it was. But a few students who studied it answered it. The answers in ninjutsu were genjutsu, illusion, ninpo and elemental jutsu, kinjutsu, forbidden techniques, and finally fuinjutsu, the art of seals and sealing. Alright now class, as for those of you who become shinobi, these are the techniques that many of you would know. Now I'll start with the first part, genjutsu. One by one, the instructor explained as simply as she can what each ninjutsu does. Many were surprised to know the types of ninjutsu that require chakra, such as genjutsu can help put people in an illusion world, or help hide you from anyone. Ninpo and elemental jutsu can be used in anything, from multiplying a single shuriken into dozens of shuriken, while the elemental styles can be used from any of the 5 known elements: wind, lightning, water, earth, and fire. Kinjutsu are forbidden arts, where the caster would have to give up something, whether it could do extreme physical damage to using your soul or other souls as payment for a dangerous form. When the teacher started to explain fuinjutsu. Alright, now we're in the final part of ninjutsu, which is fuinjutsu, the art of seals/sealing. Now, who can tell me some of the benefits of learning fuinjutsu? Asked the teacher. Many were thinking about it, but Naruto raised his hand to answer. The teacher acknowledges him. Alright Uzumaki-san, what are the benefits of Fuinjutsu? Well, Fuinjutsu can be used in a few ways that I can think of. One way is that you can use it to seal equipment, such as rope, shinobi wire, or any sort of weapons into a simple scroll which can lessen the load a person carries. Another is that you can protect any type of important documents, or things into a special type of seal which would only allow the caster or the person to open. And finally, the last thing I can think of is that it can be used to help seal off a person churka with a specific type of seal. Answered Naruto. Many were impressed on how Naruto knew what to answer, which the teacher happily smiled and said that he was right on a few of the things he said. Once the teacher explained to the class about it, it was then that class was going to end for the day. The professor then explained to them their homework for the night, and flashback. It was during the lesson of Fuinjutsu that he started getting interested in it. After he completed his homework, which in all he was right, but it was the Fuinjutsu part of the homework that he excelled the most in. He then focused his time on going to the library whenever he had enough free time to see books and scroll, whichever Kumo had, on learning Fuinjutsu. Reading on Fuinjutsu, which confused more than most people but came naturally to him like he was born to know Fuinjutsu. He practices it until he had one conversation with Yujuto. Flashback. Yujuto was walking into a dango shop to have a sweet snack, when she spotted a 11-year-old Naruto sitting at a bench nearby. After she got her order, she went to him to see him reading a scroll of sealing from Kumo's shinobi library. Hey Naruto-chan, is that a scroll of Fuinjutsu? Asked Yujuto. Naruto looked up to see Yujuto, to which he nodded. Hi Yujuto-ne. Why are you reading a scroll on Fuinjutsu? Questioned Yujuto. Naruto took a moment to pause this since he wanted to be very clear to Yujuto. After a few moments he said, well, ever since we started to learn about what ninjutsu is and how Fuinjutsu works, I've grown a lot of interest. Knowing how, in the right order and style, you can do almost anything with it. Yujuto can understand it since she always wanted to learn how to use Fuinjutsu. But given how difficult it is to learn it, as well as Kumo not having any real seal masters which the best they have were above mid-average in the art, she had to give it up. It was then Yujuto's thoughts stopped when she heard Naruto say, given on how I like reading Fuin and wanted to learn it, along with the fact that Kumo's doesn't have a real seal master, I'm going to become a Kumo's greatest seal master, along with being the next Raikage. End flashback. With that, Naruto worked hard and with only a few tips from the teachers and relying solely on scroll and books on Fuinjutsu, he was able to get a good grasp on it that he was on Chunin LV Sealer. His thoughts ended when he heard the academy teacher coming in and telling them that they are going to start now. With that, Naruto's attention had stopped from his thoughts about the past and focused on the here and now. Raikage's office. As Naruto was busy with the Genin exam, it was focusing on the files before him. He was currently looking over the files on quite possibly on his future Genin teams. He read each academy student's files, until he came up to the final bits, which were the files that were the most interesting. One was the possible Kunoichi of the year, while the second was golden for Rookie of the Year, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. As he read Naruto's stats, he couldn't believe how much his bet motivated him to get to a level where he can even be on the playing field with mid-LV Chunin, even though he has yet to start learning the basic chakra control exercises yet. In fact, A has asked on a record of a student who had the same level as Naruto in the academy, which he was surprised to know that it has been over 15 years since a prodigy like Naruto has been around. He couldn't help but smile, since even though he never had planned to know that Naruto is seeking his position when he grows up, he couldn't help but smile about it since Naruto has proven that he is very capable and loyal to his friends. Things around the elemental nations are going to become very interesting. A sudden thought as he decided on who would be on each team. It has been over an hour since the test began. For the first half hour of class, the instructor explained what was going to be on the test, which many had their own worries and such. For others, they were confident that all the studying and practice they did was more than enough. Once the explanation was done, the written test was begun, which many were having difficulty in. Naruto was completely bored in taking the test since he knew all the answers from the start, where he looked like he was just dribbling around his paper with a bored look. He checked around to see that his friend Omo and his best friend, Samui, were doing alright. Naruto couldn't believe how much Samui has changed over the years. She was now 4 feet 3 inches tall, and had cut her long straight blonde hair for a shorter version just around her chin. She wore a gray revealing miniskirt with a tight, white short-sleeved tank shirt over a sleeveless fishnet shirt. She also carried her weapons and supplies on her utility belt, while also having her katana strapped behind her back. Samui's body had already started to show signs of her becoming more womanly, as the stage for her S started to develop and her body started to be kawaii. With Omoi, he can tell that he was having one of his episodes where he was thinking of the consequences of not writing the right answer, while he saw that Samui was doing great. Over the years, since they first met, both Naruto and Samui had grown close as Kumo's most famous Ice Queen can get. Naruto can remember when he and Samui met again in the Shinobi Academy. Flashback. Naruto was only 8 years old when he started at the academy. He was in class sitting around enjoying seeing all the new faces around him. Earlier, he was outside the entrance of the academy, where he saw the Raikage give a small speech for all of the students who may or may not become Kumo's future shinobi. As he was sitting down looking at the new faces, one in particular stood out. On his left side he saw a pale girl with dark blue eyes and long blonde hair, with an emotionless expression on her face. When he looked at her, he saw her looking back at him. They both looked at each other for a moment, before the girl looked annoyed and turned away from him. Naruto continued to look at the girl whom he decided to try and talk to since he felt like he knew her. Before he could ask, the shinobi instructors came into the class and started things off. They explained what was going to be necessary for being a shinobi. They then got everyone in the class to introduce themselves from where they were sitting. As the class went down, it came down to Naruto's turn, whose mind was still on the girl. "Hey you!" Naruto snapped out of his thoughts when the instructor yelled at him. "Stop spacing out and introduce yourself." Hi. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and my dream is to become the next Raikage of Kumo," said Naruto. Once he was done, the next kid went on until it made it to the girl, who she introduced herself to. "Hello. My name is Samui. I wanted to be a strong and cool kunoichi." When a lot of the boys saw Samui for the first time, they couldn't help but think about how cute she looks, even with the emotionless look on her face. It was then that Naruto remembered who she was. He remembered that it was the girl he sort of made friends with back when he first walked around Kumo. During lunch break, Naruto quickly went to find her, which he did sitting all alone at the back of the school, where many of the other children don't come around. He calmly walked up to her. As he got close enough, Samui spoke. "What do you want? It's uncool for someone to just look at them all day, and then find me like this." "Are you a stalker?" asked Samui. "No, I'm not a stalker, especially to the girl I first met when I first came into Kumo 3 years ago," answered Naruto. Samui looked at Naruto, and then she remembered seeing a blonde spiky-haired boy with blue cerulean eyes and 3 whisker marks on both his cheeks. And flashback. After reuniting after 3 years, both Naruto and Samui had an alright relationship. For Naruto, he treated her like a friend, instead as a goddess that the other boys always do. Samui treated Naruto like everyone else in the academy, coldly. But it wasn't until he beat her in taijutsu training in the academy that she acknowledged him as her equal. Over the years after their battle, both Naruto and Samui's relationship had increased steadily. They would always hang out with each other, while also helping each other out. Naruto helped Samui out with a lot of stuff that she wanted help with, such as taijutsu and ninjutsu, while Samui helped Naruto out when he asked her to help him. Their relationship was so close to each other that many people thought they were dating, even though they were kids, but it wasn't true, well, at least half the time. Naruto treated Samui like a true kunoichi, like Samui did the same with Naruto. But sometimes Samui always got an annoying feeling whenever she saw one of Naruto's fangirls trying to get him on a date, or asking him to be their boyfriend. Later, it's been a few hours since the written exam, in which after the test the students were given an hour off for them to have lunch or to loosen themselves up from the written portion, where they can also get ready for the physical part of the exam. Once everyone had finished their break, the students came back to the academy where they waited outside the academy's training area for students. Naruto was currently with Samui, along with Omoi, where they waited for the instructors to come out. As they waited, A lot of the girls who were in Naruto's fan club wanted to go and confess or ask him out on a date, but were hesitant since they saw that Samui was nearby him. Now, normally it wouldn't be a problem, but it was just that Samui was the strongest kunoichi in class and the best student next to Naruto. The instructors came out once everyone in class had arrived. They began to test out everyone's shuriken and kunai skills. Everyone scored average or above average, where some actually scored high. Only Naruto and Samui scored perfect scores. For extra credit, they were allowed to use any other form of throwing weapon, which only a few did. With Naruto, he used his bow. Naruto went to the target range, where he asked for moving targets, which the instructors did. The instructors put 4 moving targets, 2 of a distance of 500 yards and 2 at 1000 yards away. Naruto unsealed his arrows and shot, which he hit dead center at the 2 500 yards ones, while the 2 1000 yards ones got 1 bullseye and almost on to dead center. Next came the taijutsu exam, which many were thrilled and worried about. One by one, each student went against each other, while the instructors watched to see the level of each student possessed. Naruto saw Omo go up and won his match, although he saw Omo was having some difficulty, which he can understand since Omo was more on kenjutsu and taijutsu. After a little while, Samui went up to win her match as well, which she finished at a fast pace. Finally came Naruto's turn, which was unfortunate for his opponent, since he was beaten in less than 10 seconds. Finally came up the ninjutsu test, which everyone was succeeding or failing on the 3 known jutsu that all genin needed to know: transformation, substitution, and clone jutsu. When Naruto's turn came up, he went into a different room, where the test was being taken. Naruto did both the transformation and substitution jutsu perfectly. When the bunshin jutsu came up, he would have been worried, but thanks to Killer Bee, he was confident about it. Flashback. Naruto was alone, looking over a lake that he sometimes trained on his simple ninjutsu. Currently, he was trying everything he can on doing a simple clone, which wasn't going so well. Naruto was about to call a day, when he looked behind him to see Killer Bee. Bee-sama surprised Naruto. "Hey Naruto, what's with the look? It doesn't match your attitude," asked Bee. "I've been trying to perfect the Bunshin no Jutsu, but I can't seem to do it," and annoyed Naruto. It was then that Killer Bee told him about his problem, since he can understand it too well. He explained about how his Biju was giving him an extra boost of power where it made it difficult to use a small amount of chakra. Killer Bee decided to teach Naruto a different Bunshin Jutsu that would allow him to learn it. And flashback. Naruto created a lightning clone jutsu, when Naruto created a lightning clone. With that, Naruto had passed the academy and graduated from it as well. Once the exam was over, everyone was free for the next hour for them to relax, while the instructors finished grading up the final portions. Later, final break has ended, where all the students returned to their classroom for the last time. The grades were given out, where Naruto was given the Rookie of the Year title, and Samui was given the Kunoichi of the Year. With that being said and done, the class was dismissed. For those who graduated, they would return in 3 days' time for team placements. Everyone went outside, where many parents were out waiting to congratulate or comfort their children on who passed or failed. Naruto walked away from the academy and headed back home to his apartment, since now he can focus his feelings of finding out that his father was the Yondaime Hokage, and his mother being the last Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. Before Naruto could even get about 50 meters away from the academy, Omo came walking up to him. "Hey Naruto. Yo bro. What's wrong with you? You seem to space out about something," Omo asked out of concern. Naruto shook his head. "Nothing is wrong. I just got a lot on my mind right now." "On what?" Curious Omo. "I spoke to the Raikage earlier today, before going to class, and told me something personal. I won't go into details, but right now, I just need some time to be by myself," answered Naruto. "Alright then, but before you do, I believe we should go and eat something first. If you're going to be thinking for a while, I suggest you do it with a full stomach so you won't be distracted by anything," said Oma. Naruto was about to decline until Omoi went on one of his scenario episodes. "But if you eat too much, you might get a stomach ache, which you would then be thinking on how to relax it, or if you don't." Naruto just sighed at Omoi antics. but decided to go and eat since he was going to be thinking about his parents for a while. Once Naruto got Omwa to calm down from his antics, both of them were about to walk off, when Naruto noticed Samui being somewhat harassed by her male fan club members on going on date with one of them as a celebration. Before Samui can say drop dead, they heard Naruto calling out to Samui. Samui-chan. Omwa and I are going to get something to eat. Want to come along? Hi, that's a cool idea. I'll join you both, answered Samui. The guys were disappointed since Naruto had gotten their goddess to go with him. Samui walked along with Naruto and Omoi behind them, since he had seen the signs that both of them had some feelings for each other, even though he knew that Naruto had a thick head about women and didn't understand their feelings that well, while Samui stubbornly refused to let her feelings out to anyone, even with her emotionless appearance. As Oma looked at them from their backs, both Naruto and Samui were having their own conversation. So Samui-chan, congrats on being this year's Kunoichi of the year. I know that you deserve it for all the effort you put into it, said Naruto. Thank you, Naruto-san. But I have to admit that it was cool of you to help me when I asked for your help, since that was part of the reason I did so well, replied Samui. What are you going to do from here on out? What kind of people you want be in a team with? Asked Naruto. I would prefer a team where we get the job done, and avoid having someone who isn't up to par with me, since I prefer not to babysit anyone during a mission, since it would be uncool to have to focus not only on the mission but also your teammate, answered Samui. Yeah, I have to agree on that too, replied Naruto. Both of them continued to talk with each other until Omoi jumps in to talk with them. They all went to a barbecue restaurant for their celebration. As they ate, Samui noticed that Naruto had other things on his mind, since even though they were having an alright time, she saw that Naruto had other things in his mind. It's been 3 days since the Academy Genin exams for Kumo. For the last 3 days, those that have passed the test have been doing whatever they wanted to do. Some went ahead and relaxed for a bit, others continued to train hard, and the last had prepared on what they would need. For Naruto, it had been 3 days of nothing but personal thought and issues. The last 3 days were nothing more than thinking and rethinking about what the Raikage had said to him. The day he took his Genin exams was also the day that the Raikage told him that his parents were the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, Minato Namikaze, and the former Jinchuriki of Kyubi, Kushina Uzumaki. He had so many thoughts. First, he thought about his father, the one that saved Konoha, the one that sealed the Kyubi inside him, and the one that even now he considered his hero was his father. There were so many thoughts and feelings going through him that he felt completely lost. He questioned why the fourth used his own son to seal the Kyubi in him. He then questioned why the third, who acted like his grandfather sometimes, didn't tell him that he was the son of the greatest Hokage Konoha has ever had? Or why the third lied to him in his face the few times he asked who his parents were. He was completely confused about the whole situation. He then thought about his mother. For the first time, he now knew why he didn't have a mother, because he knew from Yujito and Killer Bee that told him that once a bijou is pulled out from the Jinchuriki would die. He wondered so many times what his mother was like, that he cried himself to sleep on nights he could sleep, thinking that she abandoned him because of what his father did or because she died with him. He was happy to know that she died, since now he knew he was never abandoned, and was glad to finally know what her name was. Even though he was somewhat happy to know that his parents did abandon him, other questions popped into his head. Did they love him? Was he a mistake? Why did they die? For a while, that along with other things just kept eating at him. He even trained himself to exhaustion to try to think clearly about the situation. Thankfully, Yujito came to help him. The Raikage explained to her about the bet he made with Naruto about his parents' identity. Yujito was surprised to know about the bet they made years ago. Yujito wanted to know who Naruto's parents are, since she was just as curious. But he said to talk to Naruto about it, since he is the only one to have that right to say who his parents are. Yujito talked to Naruto for a bit, which helped him out for a bit, since Yujito helped answer some of Naruto's easier questions. But questions about feelings or about the past were the ones that were left unanswered. In the end, Naruto was able to put some of his issues away, but he still had other questions, mostly about his heritage, since he knew he was from the Uzumaki clan and now from the Namikaze clan. But for now, he was contemptuous of knowing his family. Academy. The students that passed Kumo's Genin exam were waiting in their old classroom for the last time, to see who would be teamed up. Naruto was sitting in the left row, center table, and the left seat where the windows were located. He looked outside through the window, just watching the day go by. He is currently thinking on who would be on his team since he only wanted 2 people to join him, Samui and Omoi. After waiting for a while, everyone was now calmly sitting down on the seats they picked when the sensei came into the room. Omoi took his seat next to Naruto, which Naruto silently was thankful for because Omoi helped keep his fangirl away from him. He saw Samui sitting in the front center row of the class. Alright class, this would probably be the last time we see each other in class. From this point, what you do well not only impacts you but also in Kumo, so work hard and stay safe. Now for the team placements, where we will tell you where you'll then meet your sensei. The shinobi then started to go down the list, giving each potential genin the team they were assigned. Many kunoichi wanted to be on Naruto's team, while the male wanted to be in a team with Samui. It went on until it reached Team 8. Next, Team 8 will consist of Sora, Ryo, and S. Your sensei will be Saito. Now for Team 9. Naruto Uzumaki. This caught Naruto's attention, as well as almost every available kunoichi that hasn't yet been placed on a team. Samui, Omio, and Karui, your sensei will be Killer B. Naruto was surprised to know that Killer B will be his sensei, but figured that the Raikage would want someone who can teach Naruto on how to control his Biju, which he thought it would be Yujito, while also making sure his other 3 teammates will be well trained. He was also surprised to see Karui would be his 4th teammate, since she was one of the few girls that didn't want to date him. Samui was surprised as well, which she barely showed it on her face, knowing that the Raikage's brother will be teaching him, while pleased to know that Naruto would be on her team as well as Omio. She, of course, was upset to know that Karui would be on her team since she knew that Karui isn't up to sniping yet, but she has proven that she was an average Kenjutsu fighter. The shinobi instructors continued on with the last team, where they then told each team on where to meet their sensei. After that, they were all dismissed. With Team 9, Naruto and Samui were walking alongside each other, while Omoi and Karui walked behind them. As they walked, Karui tried to figure out what to say since it was eerily quiet among them. Before she could say anything, Samui spoke up. So Naruto-san, do you mind explaining to me why you've been so quiet today? Are you usually more active than you really are? So what seems to be the problem? Samui asked with curiosity. Omo was also just as curious since he knows Naruto pretty well to know that something must be bugging him. Karui was the only one that didn't understand what they meant. Karui was one of the few girls that actually didn't act like a fangirl, but still had some feelings for him, but was still unaware of how Naruto acted since she never actually became friends with him. Naruto thought about Samui's question for a minute since this was a really hard matter to speak about, one that he still has yet to settle. He thought about it until he decided to tell them because Samui might give him her 2 cents about the matter. What if you find out that you're the legacy of not one but 2 of the greatest shinobi in the world, which one you admired for so long, while the other is from a legendary clan, as well as knowing that your father was the one that cursed you? Explained Naruto. That got all 3 of his teammates into a surprised and curious mode. For Karui, she couldn't believe that Naruto was the legacy of 2 powerful shinobi, which was one of many things that Naruto's fan club wanted to know. Samui and Omo were just as interested since they knew a lot about Naruto, and for him to say something like that was kinda weird. Omo decided to break the silence saying, "Dude, what do you mean?" Asked. I spoke to the Raikage a couple of days ago since I won the bet that we made a couple of years ago. Even though the 3rd Hokage kept a secret from me, even before I was brought to Kumo, it didn't mean that there were others that didn't know who knew him and couldn't put 2 and 2 together with me. Said Naruto. What are you talking about, Naruto-san? Questioned Samui. Raikage-sama told about my mother and father. Answered Naruto. This surprised even Samui since she knew that Naruto didn't know who his parents were from the times they talked, ate, and trained together. She always wondered who they were, since she was in the same boat as him and didn't know her own parents, but learned something about them from her older brother. She especially knew that Naruto wanted to know who they were. But now, she couldn't help but wonder about whose legacy that Naruto was carrying. Omoi and Carrie were just as stunned about the situation. Omoi couldn't believe that the Raikage could tell Naruto or know such a secret, while Carrie wondered who his parents were since the way he said his parents must be powerful people. Before they can even press on about the subject, Naruto just said to drop it since he still has issues about it for now. Samui and the others agreed with Naruto's request and decided to just meet up with their new sensei. Later, it's been about a few minutes when Naruto and the others reached the meeting place, where they waited for Killer Bee. The meeting was located at the same place where Naruto first went to when he learned that he was the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, at a park near the lake. They only waited for a bit before Killer Bee showed up, and of course he showed up in his own style. "Hey boys and girls, it's me, you see, your new sensei, the great Killer Bee, ah yeah!" yelled out Killer Bee. Everyone saw Killer Bee come out of the lake in his Bijou mode, which surprised everyone, even Naruto, since this is the first time that he has seen Killer Bee go Bijou. When everyone saw the Hachibi form, they were scared, but then surprised when it shrunk down into Killer Bee himself. He then walked up to them to greet them more properly, which was bumping fists. Naruto was the first to get out of the shock feeling that Killer Bee gave them. He gave him a fist bump. Samui was the second to come out of the shock feeling, then Omoi and Karui. Samui, Omoi and Karui saw Naruto bump fists together, which they both greeted each other like usual. Then Bee turned to his 3 other new students and held out a fist. They were curious about it, which Naruto explained to them. "Guys, he wants you to bump fists with him. This is Bee-sensei's way of greeting new people." The others nodded, each one giving him a fist bump. After that, Bee did his weird rap on everyone saying to introduce themselves so they can know each other better. Naruto decided to go up first. "Hi, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen, gardening, fuinjutsu, and my friends. My dislikes are people who mistreat others for something they don't understand. My hobbies are training hard, studying new fuinjutsu, and gardening. My dream is to one day start a family, be a master of fuinjutsu and become the next Raikage." After Naruto introduced himself, the others went up. "My name is Samui. My likes are a secret. My dislikes are people who aren't cool. My hobbies are training, improving my kenjutsu, and reading cool books. My dreams are none of your business," Samui plainly said. Next, Omo and Carrie told their team about what they like, dislike, hobbies and dreams. After the genin told a little bit about themselves, Killer Bee wrapped away his own introduction. "Now your intro is done. Oh, it's time for the rhyme master, Killer Bee, to sing up his intro," rapped Bee, as he did it in his own hip-hop dance way. "My name is Killer Bee, you see. I'm the 8-tailed beast, you see. I like my bro as well as my swords. I don't dislike anyone or anything. I like to write and sing my rhymes, and my dream is my own tale to tell." Everyone had a sweat drop on their heads. After introducing each other, Killer Bee said there was one more test for them to take before they can become genin. Carrie complained about it, while Omoi was worried about what kind of impossible test they might have to take. Naruto and Samui weren't worried since they thought they'd be able to handle it. Carrie then shouted out, "What kind of test are we taking then for us to become shinobi?" Killer Bee just smirked, saying, "That's my tale to tell. Come at the morn in my turf to find out the task at hand." With that, Killer Bee told them where to meet in the morning and left his possible genin team to be ready for tomorrow. It has been over a month since Naruto and his team became genin. Naruto was grateful to know that he, Samui and Omoi worked well together from Killer Bee's test. Karui was another problem, but after some lectures during the test, they were all able to pass. Flashback. Currently, Naruto was hiding inside some bushes as he was trying to figure out how to take Killer Bee's sunglasses. Earlier, Killer Bee told them that for them to become Kumo's genin, they needed to pass to steal his sunglasses. But of course this can only be applied for only one person, since only one person can pass this test. With that, Killer Bee began the test, which all 4 of them separated. After thinking it over, Naruto figured that the only way he can pass this test was to first get the others to help out, and they can then figure out how to solve the situation. He quickly left his hiding spot to find Samui, Omoi and Karui to get them to help each other on stealing Killer Bee glasses. After a bit of searching, Naruto found Samui and Omoi, who agreed to Naruto's plan and agreed to put their personal matters on becoming shinobi on hold after they retrieved Killer Bee's sunglasses. But before they went to get Karui, all of them spotted Karui challenging Killer Bee, which all three of them thought about how much of an idiot she is. After a few minutes of fighting, Karui was brought down. At that moment, Naruto and the rest of the team went ahead with their own plan. They each positioned themselves on their designated spots in order to prepare their chance. Once Karui was down, they made their move. Naruto had his bow ready at a nice distance, where he can move quickly and help his friends. Naruto shot his bow at Killer Bee's face, which he caught the arrow in his hands, but was surprised by what happened next. The arrow had a special smokescreen paper bomb. As the paper bomb exploded, all three moved in on Killer Bee. Samui and Omoi had their katanas in their hands. As the smoke screen was still on the field, Killer Bee could sense the attacks that were coming, which he dodged several slash and strikes from Samui and Omoi. Killer Bee had the advantage, until he saw several arrows coming at him, who dodged all of them, which the last one he bent down to avoid. With Killer Bee bent down, Omoi went in for the glasses, only to be surprised by Killer Bee when he jumped up into the air. Of course, Samui jumped into the air, hoping that Omoi did his part to get Killer Bee into the air to avoid Omoi's assault. The plan worked as she saw Killer Bee coming out of the smoke cloud, which he saw Samui waiting to strike at him. Samui was about to use her sword for a slash with her left hand, while she was ready to use her right to get Killer Bee's sunglasses. But unfortunately, Killer Bee predicted this, which is why he used his substitution jutsu with Karui when Samui tried to capture him. As Killer Bee exited the smoke screen, he was surprised by the sudden arrows that were coming at him. Killer Bee dodged it, only to be surprised by the person who shot at him from behind. After shooting his arrows, at a very close range away from the smoke screen, he immediately in full speed got behind Killer Bee to strike at him. Naruto used his specially made bow to attack Killer Bee. Normally, those who are long-range specialists, who use weapons like bow for long range, would not be very strong in close-range combat. But Naruto made sure he trained himself to fight in any range, close mid-long range attacks. As Naruto used his bow to help the confused Killer Bee, Samui quickly came behind Killer Bee in order to trap him, but Killer Bee jumped over her. Naruto didn't stop his assault, as he used the moment that Killer Bee made to help out Samui. He quickly used his bow to balance out Samui, by putting her inside his bow and turning her around as well as using the string as a type of spring. He then jumped up and pulled his bow away from Samui to let her keep running towards Bee. Samui was surprised at what Naruto did, but immediately knew what he was up to, which she was grateful for since Bee had yet to land from his jump. Samui had a perfect push as Naruto used the moment to jump behind Samui, while she also ducked a bit to let the bow go over her easier, giving her a perfect start run at Bee. As Samui went after Killer Bee, Naruto had prepared another arrow to shoot at Bee. Once Bee landed, he turned to see Samui coming at him. Before he could counter, an arrow came past Samui's left side and went for Killer Bee. Naruto shot his arrow at Bee once he landed, but of course aimed to make sure he didn't hit Samui. As Killer Bee dodged the arrow, he had to deal with Samui, which she used her sword to get him off balance. Killer Bee was about to counter-attack, but his attention was diverted when Omoi came out of the smoke screen that was now dissipating. He made sure to distract Bee long enough for Naruto to come from above to surprise him with a sudden leg strike on his shoulder. This causes Killer Bee to be stunned for a moment, while Omoi uses his sheath to hold Bee's arms long enough for Samui to get his glasses. Killer Bee would have done something, but he was caught once again since Naruto placed his bow onto Bee to decrease Bee's chance of extending his arms to try anything. Samui would have caught him at that moment, but Killer Bee had a physical advantage, which he used by leaning towards the right, which got Omoi off balance. With this, Killer Bee was able to get some leverage, and got himself free from Omoi's hold, but also away from Samui's grasp. Killer Bee then moved away from the others, while taking out Naruto's bow off of him. Once he did, he decided to end this battle after dodging an attack from Karui, who waited for her chance to get him. Currently, Killer Bee was now standing in front of his probable genin team, as they were tied up together. In the end, Killer Bee used his supreme speed to move fast enough to knock out everyone, except for Naruto. Unlike the other three, Naruto was able to avoid 2 strikes before Killer Bee took him down. Killer Bee raps a compliment to Naruto, Samui, and Omoi on working together, while Karui got one that made her look like an idiot. With that, Killer Bee passed all 3 of them, while Karui would be sent back to the academy. Karui was upset about it. But then Naruto spoke up saying that since she was part of their team, then he would join her if she was forced to leave, making sure that Karui doesn't have to be humiliated by herself. Samui and Omoi agreed with Naruto on it, even though Omoi was having second thoughts about it. As Killer Bee was going to make his decision, Karui spoke up saying that she failed and would go back to the academy by herself since it wouldn't be right for the others. Plus she secretly thought if Naruto was sent back to the academy, then she would hunted down by all his fangirls. As they waited for Killer Bee to say that they are going back to the academy, they then heard Killer Bee say that they passed. Everyone was surprised to hear what he said. Killer Bee started to explain what this test was about. Think the bell test from Kakashi, and flashback. As Naruto finished thinking about his genin test, his mind went back to the mission that he was currently in. Right now, Team 9 with Killer Bee as their sensei, was doing a C-rank mission. The mission was to go hunt down some bandits that were robbing and causing trouble from one of their allies, which they were sent to take care of. After 5 days of tracking them from the last place they strike, they were able to find the group. They spotted about 15 men enjoying the fruits of their latest steal. They were planning something, when Omoi spotted something from the group. He saw that the leader of the group was a Nukin, which Samui identified as a C-class criminal. Killer Bee said that he won't go up against them, unless he has to, since this is where they were allowed to shine. Naruto planned things out. He would attack at long distances to provide not only cover for everyone, but also keep an eye out for anyone trying to escape. Samui, Omoi, and Karui would lead in a surprise attack that Naruto would provide with his arrows. After waiting for about 5 minutes for everyone to take their place, Naruto summoned one of his arrows and equipped it with a paper smokescreen. He took aim for the most appropriate spot for all of his team to take advantage of, but mostly to make sure to blind the wanted C-class Nukin. The bandits didn't know what hit them once Naruto's arrow exploded on contact. The black smokescreen that filled the area had caught most of the bandits there, but mostly at the Nukin. From there, Samui quickly ran for the March 1st bandits that were close to her, which she quickly took them down with extreme speed and precision. Karui took down 2 bandits herself with strong back head kicks. Oma jumped down from the tree that he snuck in, to land on top of his opponent instantly to bring down, then moved on to the next 2 that were in front of him. Naruto kept a close eye from the tree that he was in to make sure that everyone was alright. As he looked on, he noticed that some of the bandits got into groups, getting ready to counterattack. Naruto saw that it was kind of like a shinobi formation, which he guessed that the Nukin taught them. He decided to stop that by sending one of his explosive paper bomb arrows at the side of them, which not only informed his friends on where the explosive was, but also to push back the bandits into the now clearing smokescreen, as well as disrupt their formation. Once the bandits were back into the smokescreen, one of the scattered bandits got up on his feet to find Samui kicking him in the gut and neck and chopping him into the ground. Naruto watched as his team continued to finish up the ambush, but also wondered where the C-rank Nukin was hiding since he was trying to find him. Behind Naruto, the C-rank Nukin was silently coming behind Naruto. He found Naruto sitting at a branch, observing the battle, as well as papering to fire another arrow as cover fire for his team as they fought. The Nukin found Naruto from the last explosion since he figures if he caught him, then he can try and get his men back as well as get rid of his followers. Once he was in strike position, the Nukin strike at him with a kunai in hand only to see that Naruto switched his bow around and used it as a defensive weapon. Naruto used his bow to slap away the kunai held hand, but also used his arrow as a weapon as well. Naruto attempted to stab the Nukin only for him to get his barring back and avoid it. But that was what Naruto wanted since he used the stab down as a decoy to flip himself with the momentum, and caught the knee. He then maneuvered his bow to securely get the kunai off his opponent's hands, then used the bow as a choke hold, which he succeeded in taking him out. His team had finished taking care of the bandits, when Omoi spoke up. "Where's the missing Nukin? Shouldn't he be around here?" Worried, "Oh, he must have run off and left his comrades here since he figured he couldn't beat us," answered Karui. "You're probably right, Karui. However, it would be cool if we track him down to make sure that not another uncool group happens again," Samui stated coolly. Karui and Omoi agreed that they were going to go get Naruto and Killer Bee when Killer Bee came out from where he was watching to tell them that it wasn't necessary. "Are you sure, Sensei?" It could cause trouble if we let him get away. Almost said as he started to mumble on a lot of the possible or impossible scenarios, but was stopped when Killer Bee said, "It's cool, don't be a fool, a little maelstrom has got it all." Before they could wonder what Killer Bee meant, they heard a thump to see the C-rank nuke Nin tied up and unconscious while Naruto was carrying him over his shoulder. Naruto explained that the nuke Nin came behind him in order to take him down, but Naruto got the better of him. With that, they concluded that the mission was complete. Once they gave the bandits to the proper forces to be arrested, and or prison, they all went back home. As they were going home, Karui smiled since not only did they complete their second C-rank mission, they were going to get a little bit of a bonus from the nuke Nin. As they were going, Samui noticed Naruto had one of his old texts on Fuinjutsu. "Naruto-san, why are you rereading your old Fuinjutsu book? I can understand you want to be seal master, but don't you think you would progress further if you get a more advanced version?" Samui stated. Naruto sighed. "I would like that, Samui. However, I already read almost all the Fuinjutsu scrolls and book in the Shinobi archives. But they were almost all the same knowledge like before. Plus I asked Killer Bee if there was any Fuin specialist in Kumo. But he said that most are either mid to high mid-rate specialists, but said that I was already near the knowledge that they have." Samui nodded in Naruto's plight as he then continued to speak. "If anything, I would like to get scrolls from someplace else, but many shinobi villages are very protective of their Fuinjutsu and stuff," finished Naruto, while thinking, "If only I could go back to Konoha and get to my father's library, since I remember the Raikage said that my father was just as impressive in Fuinjutsu as my ancestors in the Uzumaki clan. I can see your plight. It is uncool that you can't get any more training without someone who is a master in the art to teach you. Too bad that any of your family in Yuzuno Kuni isn't around. You can probably ask one of them, if they trusted you enough, of course." It was then that Naruto got the idea. "Yuzuno Kuni, my mother's side of the family, that's it. Samui, if I could, I would kiss you right now," Naruto stated, which for a tiny moment, Samui actually blushed, but was repressed down. "What do you mean?" asked Samui. "I'm going to my ancestor's home," said Naruto, which Samui didn't get but listened to Naruto. "If my family was as skilled in seals, then it would only make sense that they must have hid something for only those of with their bloodline could get, since after all, I am an Uzumaki in both name and in blood," smiled Naruto. With this, Naruto had made a new course in his life, which he knew if anything, he had to go to Yuzuno Kuni to see not only his ancestor's home, but also find any of the treasures that were probably still hidden in it.